Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Ascent Podcast. And I'll be your guide today as we talk about the good old fashioned holiday blues. And that's not to say that the holidays are a bad thing. It's just that sometimes for some people, it really can bring about things that cause us to just be out of sorts, out of balance, and just not able to be our true selves. Gentlemen, welcome. How do you feel we have gotten kind of off track when we talk about the connective pieces of family and what that's all about? A lot of it is around A, the holidays or different holiday seasons, and B is just, like you said, the consumerism pieces of it as well. Where have we gotten lost? What's disjointed about that?
A lot more people are going through a lot more than they care to admit to, and I'll be the first one to say that I'm at the head of the line. Uh, you and I talked about this yesterday for a little bit after golf. We're all going through something, and used to be I would share it with a lot of people, and I've my research and what I've seen tells me that that doesn't benefit me. Matter of fact, it tells me that I'm going to lose even more the more I share it, because what ends up happening is that it dilutes it. So, as I said to you yesterday when we were talking, I said what I have finally come to the conclusion is there is a time for less voices. So, some of the things that I'm going through, I've got to go through them actually on my own. I've got to try to figure it out on my own. And I realize Vinny's going to probably have something to say about that. I already know. Um, but my reality is some of this stuff I have to try to figure out how to work it out on my own. And when I do need help, I can and will ask for that help. I think my history has shown that I have the ability to ask for it. It used to be I would never ask for help. I just would take it and run with it, and it would and just allow it to just grow and fester and eat me alive to the point where I was even unbearable for myself, let alone how other people saw me. This is new ground for me. You know, the fact that sometimes I gotta man up, uh, pull my bootstraps together, and kind of figure out my own path, and figure out my own conclusion, and figure out how to best proceed forward. And it's very daunting at times, because it goes back to something that that just makes me crazy, is the feeling of being alone or even lonely. Um, the reason I'm a bounce around a little bit. The reason I decided I was going to take a corporate job at the beginning of the year, because I realized how much of a social creature I was, and how I craved interaction with people. Now, what I'm trying to learn now is who to share with and who not to share with. Because I used to not know, I had no filter on that. I shared with everybody. And I came to the conclusion I came to is like, well, some of these people, they, that some people just don't care, but what, why should they care? What's in it for them? You know, and some people just don't want to hear your problems. I mean, they just don't, because they got their own problems. So it's not that they don't want to hear your problems; they're trying to deal with their own problems. So there's a part you can't be like, I can't be selfish about that, because I want to be heard. You know what I mean? So I've had to figure out that that's great. I want to be heard. Time and place, and just how to navigate that. And this is where the rub comes in for me in the holidays. Why I get like I get sometimes, because, like, if you saw my post yesterday, I'm missing my mom. I'm missing my grandmother. I'm about to be in tears over this. And it's difficult. I'm struggling with it right now. Now that I think about it, it's getting to me. Sometimes I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. You know,
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, Chris. And that's the reality of it. And that's part of this whole thing about the holidays is what it really is about is those connections with those that we love, that some that are still with us, some that may be gone. And as you said earlier, that's what we need to really start to be drawn back to and really focus on that and cultivating and maintaining those relationships. Because as we know, the cycle of life, those relationships won't last forever. But you can, when we look back on those times that we've missed out because, well, I didn't, or I could have, or I should have, and we start to have those kinds of thoughts and regrets too, and that's all part of it. So just about energy, effort, and focus, and maybe where it really should be when we have these opportunities this time of year. Um, Vince, let's come to you. I know, as Chris alluded to when he first started, that you would have some things you definitely wanted to share, especially about the going through it alone piece.
You know, one of the things I've learned more recently in life is we do a really poor job, or at least I do a really poor job of grieving. And in that process of grieving, typically I would just, suppress, push it down there. And what I've learned more recently in a lot of these experiences is actually to celebrate the grieving. So to talk about. So one of the questions I would ask Chris would be is, tell me about some experiences you've had with your loved ones, your mom, your grandma, that brought you joy. Like, share those experiences. Like, tell me about them. Tell me about what you remember, because yeah, we're going to cry, and yeah, it's going to bring joy because you'll reflect back on and you'll have gratitude for those experiences. And also sharing that with me and Brian and everyone else, like, oh wow, like that's a pretty great experience, and you'll hold that positive, you know I don't know, I feel like I feel really compelled to, like, yeah, tell us some stories, Chris Black, because it's just so therapeutic.
Yeah, that is a true piece of it when trying to, going back and reflecting and sharing those good stories and those feelings and those emotions. And it's certainly, it's kind of its own therapy in itself in a certain way that it really does help. Um, for me, I have some of those same challenges, right? There's certain people in my life that are no longer here. And, I look back on, I guess, look back on it primarily from the standpoint of what we missed for various reasons.